Am I wrong for refusing to attend an apology dinner after my mother-in-law called me a bad mother at my son's funeral? I lost my son to congenital heart disease and he did not survive the open heart surgery at the age of 1 year and 6 months. He was the greatest blessing I had in my life. Everyone kept telling me things will get easier with time. I know that no matter how much time goes by, I'll still be missing my baby and everything sweet about him. Mother-in-law and I were in constant conflict. Things had always been bad between us, but in those months we reached our limit. She kept getting involved in my son's treatment and criticized every decision I made, claiming I didn't know how to handle my son's illness. We went low contact, but she kept causing issues occasionally. My husband was torn between our son's illness and his mother's issues. When my son passed away, she came to the funeral and caused a scene by arguing with me, knowing I had no energy for it. She used the fact that everyone was there so she could say it was my fault my son was born sick and I didn't take care of him properly, and that I didn't listen to her when suggested other ways to treat his condition, and that I was the one who took their grandchild away from them and caused them heartache. She then loudly called me a bad mother. I had no idea how I kept my composure and kept standing on both feet. She then went to tell everyone I kicked her out as a way to hurt her feelings and lied that I convinced my husband to ban her from visiting her grandson's grave. My husband later sent his side of the family an email talking about my mother-in-law's behavior during and after our son's illness and telling them he will no longer be seeing her. That had the family criticizing us, saying mother-in-law was just trying to do what was best for her grandbaby and called us selfish for assuming we're the only ones struggling with this tragedy. We haven't seen his mom in 1 year and 8 months. I'm now 3 months pregnant. No one knew, only my sister-in-law, but word got out. A week later, I had family members saying I was invited to a dinner hosted by my mother-in-law so she could both apologize in front of the whole family and settle this issue before the baby's born. They said mother-in-law was regretful and offered to financially provide for her grandbaby, and they want to see that. I refused, but my husband surprisingly wants me to go. I had his grandparents calling me, telling me that I'm a person with a good heart and forgiveness is something that I'm capable of giving. I told them I'll never be sitting at the same table with the person who called me a bad mother at my child's funeral. I still remember it vividly till this very day. My sister said this change of heart from mother-in-law is probably for the new baby. It could be, but I insisted I won't come. They're saying I'm making it hard for everyone to move on and past this unresolved pain and should really go. So, should I? Am I wrong for not attending my sister's wedding because my husband is not invited? Let me start by saying this. I do understand my husband's behavior is inappropriate, but like all of us, he's not perfect, and I took vows with him to stand by him and accept him as a whole person, including his flaws. Overall, he's a good husband and I love him despite this one issue. One issue could be something very big too. So, my husband has a kink for urinating on himself in public. What the fudge? Ew! I think it's the humiliation aspect that gets him all. So sometimes, not every time we get together with my family, he will pee his pants. But overall, it's not really that disruptive. He just stands up and says something like, "Oh no, I peed myself." Then he goes to the bathroom and changes. I always bring a change of pants and underwear for him in case this happens. And when he gets back, we just move on and don't talk about it. Of course, we don't want people to know my husband is doing this for a kink. So we've told my family he has a medical condition that causes him to not have full control of his bladder. I told him that the reason he doesn't wear adult diapers is that he's ashamed of needing diapers at his age. So he's basically in denial that he needs them and refuses to wear them. Well, now my sister is getting married and she says my husband can't come because she doesn't want him disrupting my wedding by peeing his pants. I told her it was unfair to exclude him over a medical condition he can't help, which is true as far as she knows, but she said it's his own choice to refuse to wear adult diapers, so it is his fault. I told her it's her wedding and she can invite who she wants, but if my husband isn't invited, I'm not coming. He loves my family and I know it really hurts him to be excluded from the wedding just because of a kink he can't help having. He's been crying and saying he feels disgusting for having this kink, but that he can't control himself and now my family doesn't want him around. I know it would really hurt him if I just left him home and went to the wedding by myself. He told me it's my choice to go if I want and that he won't be mad, but I know he'd be really sad if I went. I love my sister and family, but my husband is my life partner, so he's always my number one priority above anyone else. And I believe I should stand by him and support him rather than choosing my family over him. So I told my sister I won't make it to the wedding, and now she's extremely angry with me, saying I'm a bad sister because I won't be there to support her. She's marrying a woman, so she also said it makes me look like I'm homophobic if I don't show up to support their union. I told her I'd love to come if my husband is invited, but she said she can't stand the thought of him disrupting the ceremony or reception by peeing his pants and announcing it. I told her how much it hurts my husband that he's excluded, but she doesn't care. I do feel bad that it hurts her that I won't be there, but he's my husband. Am I wrong for threatening to cut my parents off financially to stop my brother from proposing at my wedding? I, 27 male. I'll start this off by saying my wedding is scheduled for April because my fiance, 25 female, has always dreamed of a spring wedding. And I really like the idea too. I have an older brother though, 30 male, and last Saturday I was called over to my parents' house to talk about something, but they refused to tell me what it was until I got there. They even sat me down with my brother and told me that my brother wants to use my wedding as a perfect day for him to propose to his girlfriend. I hate stuff like that. I get so anxious. I'm like, just tell me now so I don't shit my pants. I was instantly mad and told them absolutely not, but they ganged up on me. I ended up so enraged to the point that I, one man, somehow backed all three of them into a corner. I told them that if they want to do this, they'll not only be uninvited, but I'll also cut off the financial support I've been giving monthly since they paid to have my golden child brother go through college by taking out a second mortgage. I landed a decently high-paying job and have been sending $500 to my parents monthly to help ease their mortgage. And I didn't ask for a stake in the ownership of their house either. It was entirely goodwill and I can cut it off anytime. I left without speaking anything more to them, but my brother came to my home the next day to yell at me, saying that I ruined his big chance because now our parents are siding with me and say they'll evict him if he tries to propose at my wedding. He said I was financially blackmailing our parents and that he just wanted a good chance to propose because he was afraid his girlfriend might leave him soon. It's like putting a band-aid on a gashing wound. Like, that's not, the solution is not marriage. And if he tries to propose at my wedding, I will have him thrown out. That's not a maybe, but a definite. I said that was his problem, not mine, because my wedding day is not about him, and I doubt his girlfriend would appreciate her proposal followed up and being tossed out by a bouncer. Honestly, I don't think any girl really likes getting proposed to at weddings. Like, I don't know why guys think of this idea. It's so lazy. He yelled a few choice words at me, then went crying to our only surviving grandparent, our maternal grandmother, and she called to try and read me over the phone. No surprise, my brother heavily embellished the version of the story he told her, but she still sided with him after I gave her the real story. She tried to hold her ground, but the verbal backlash I ended up giving her left her crying. Dude, it's like... I'm sorry, you made your grandma cry. That got back to my parents, who are now pissed at me for taking things this far. No, you didn't, your brother did. But I told them that I only went that far because I had to when they were all trying to get me to let my brother use my wedding as a springboard for a proposal. They ended up agreeing with me, but still stated they feel like I'm crass. And my brother showed up at my home again to scream at me that I'm an asshole, and I hope I'm happy with myself for not allowing him the opportunity. I thought I was entirely in the right at first, but maybe I really did take it too far with my brother. So, am I the asshole for everything I did and said to my brother and everyone else? Am I wrong for wanting to be a part of my best friend's birth? I, 24 female, was asked by my best friend, 25 female, if I would be in the delivery room with her when she gives birth. I was surprised when she asked me, but I was excited because that's a really beautiful and personal experience that not many people besides a spouse, partner, or close family get to be a part of. But we have always been friends since elementary school, and I've always viewed her like a sister and thought it was amazing that she viewed me like family as well, and I accepted. My best friend's husband, 26 male, got really mad when he found out I was asked to be in the delivery room. He and I have never really gotten along, and he rarely says a word to me when we're all hanging out. We don't argue or openly dislike each other though, and I just figured he wasn't a very sociable person. My best friend still wanted me to be there despite her husband not being okay with it, because it's her decision, it's not his. She's pushing out the baby, not him, so whoever gets to be in the delivery room is her choice. At first, I just thought he wanted it to be a private moment for him and his wife, and I was prepared to tell her that I would not intrude and I would just come visit her after the baby had came and they had settled in a bit. However, it was revealed to me that her husband actually didn't want me to watch her give birth because I am attracted to and have dated women. I was a little confused because I didn't see how that had anything to do with the situation. The story comes out that the reason he never speaks to me or acknowledges my presence is because he doesn't want his wife to be friends with the woman who likes women. He doesn't want me watching her give birth because that means I'll be looking at her naked and it might make me attracted to her or want to hook up with her. Gosh. He said that I had probably had a crush on his wife for years and I was just waiting for the right opportunity to get with her, and he forbid me from being in the room with them. I informed him that unless my best friend personally told me that she no longer wanted me in the delivery room, I was going to be there. Some friends have told me I am just being petty and could cause unnecessary problems in the relationship. I think that it is my best friend's decision who gets to be in there for her. So, am I the asshole? No, you're right, it is her decision who gets to be in the room. This dude sounds like a piece of shit. Am I wrong for telling a friend the real reason why a coworker wants to date him? I, 24 female, have a friend from work, 26 male, Ben. Over the years, coworkers told me that Ben was interested in me, but I brushed it off. When I met Ben, I had a boyfriend who is now my husband. Ben met him and was even invited to our wedding, so the thought of him liking me was ridiculous. I ended up confronting him about it, and he said that he did like me at first, but stopped once he realized I was taken. My husband knows this and is totally fine with it. I never saw Ben as anything more than a friend. 2 months ago, I caught a coworker, Kat, 23 female, crying in the parking lot after work. I asked what was wrong, and she told me that her boyfriend broke up with her and left the country after they found out she was pregnant, and she insisted on keeping the baby. Kate is white with blue eyes and blonde hair, and so is her ex. Most people in my country are tan and have brown eyes with black hair. This info was important later on. After the breakup, Kate went out on dates every day. The guys had one thing in common: blue eyes, blonde hair. I joked that she must have a type, but she told me that she was looking for someone to father her baby, so they had to look similar to her ex so the baby could pass as theirs. This horrified me, but it wasn't my place to tell her anything. A month ago, Ben and I had lunch where he told me he started dating Kat. Ben is the only guy in our office with blonde hair and blue eyes. I told him dating Kat might not be the best idea. After lunch, I went up to Kate and told her what she was doing is wrong and asked her not to do this to my friend. She laughed it off and said it's okay, he won't find out. I stayed quiet for a while, but eventually told Ben he should seriously stop dating Kate. He said he figured I'll try to break them up because I'm jealous. Man, I was disgusted before finally saying to not come crying to me when he realizes Kate is only dating him so another man's baby could have a father. I stopped talking to Ben shortly after, and everything was relatively peaceful in the office. That was until Kate announced she's pregnant. I could see the color drain from Ben's face as he looked in my direction. A huge fight broke out between the two of them after Ben demanded a paternity test while Kate tried to convince him it wasn't necessary. Kate called me later screaming that I ruined her life, so my guess is they broke up. The thing is, they really do deserve each other, so I'm starting to wonder whether I made the right decision by telling Ben the truth. If I hadn't, they probably would have gotten married and the baby would have had a loving father to look after him. Me personally, I would want to know. So I'd be thankful for someone like you if people knew and didn't tell me. If you're my friend, you would tell me so. Am I wrong for making a joke about my brother's affair at his wedding? When I was in elementary school, I was the type of kid who got disrupted class often on the report card, so I never focused much on school. My district had this system where they would pair high school students with younger kids to help them with their school, etc. And my mom made me do that after I kept getting in trouble. So my tutor was a freshman, Abby, so she would come to our house after school to help me with my homework or something. My brother John was the same age as Abby, so they would talk to each other and ended up dating. She stopped tutoring me officially after like a month, but since she was at our house a lot, I also talked to Abby a lot and we were close. Fast forward 10 years. Abby and John got married and had a kid together. 5 years later, John tells me that he's getting a divorce because he's met someone new. It sucked because I like John and Abby together a lot, but whatever. Then he tells me he had an affair with his new girlfriend. Also sucks, but I told him he shouldn't have hurt Abby like that, but whatever. I also asked Abby how she was doing, and she wasn't doing well, but she told me she didn't want her to be the reason I have a bad relationship with my brother. However, 2 months before my wedding, Abby calls me and tells me that my brother's girlfriend has been harassing her nonstop. She showed me the text, and his girlfriend has been saying some pretty disturbing things about how she's so much better than Abby, taunting Abby for having to share custody of her kid now, just making fun of her and bullying her. I told my brother about this, and he said he would ask his girlfriend about it. A month later, I asked him if he ever brought it up, and he said he did but saw nothing wrong with the text, which pissed me off. I later confirmed that he saw the same text I saw. Abby apologized for involving me in the whole thing in the first place and encouraged me to still go to the wedding, where my brother asked me to make a speech. The speech went well until I made a joke. The gist of the joke was me turning to his new wife and telling her that if she's learned anything from this, she should know that my brother will never let his wife stop him from finding the love of his life. I like that. That's a really good joke. Yo, high five. I love it. This got my brother and his wife really mad, and they kicked me out shortly after. And my brother has been calling and texting me nonstop, yelling at me. So, am I the asshole here? I think, honestly, this is like one of the only acceptable asshole posts I've ever read. Like, asshole. Like, this is the only time it's okay to be an asshole. Am I wrong for getting upset with my best friend's son for giving my son cake? My son is 8 years old and recently attended his friend's 8th birthday party. This friend is my best friend's son. I don't let my son have any junk food at all, and he usually brings his own snacks to events that have a lot of sugary foods. Oh, I don't like judging parents and stuff like their kids, but their kids, let them have some sugar. My best friend bakes a lot and made a special chocolate cake for her son's birthday. When it comes to my son, I don't let him have cake. This is personal preference for his health, not for any allergy reasons, and he is not diabetic or gluten-free. My son knows he isn't allowed to have cake because of the additives. When he told his best friend this at the party, his friend apparently got upset and told him it was good cake, not bad like I say, because his mom made it and it was his birthday cake. My son ate the cake, got a sugar rush, and crashed, making him cranky for the rest of the day after we left the party. I told my friend she needs to have some kind of consequence for her son to teach him not to peer pressure other children into eating things they're not allowed to have. She said because it wasn't an issue of allergies or health, that she's sorry my son was cranky, but she won't be punishing her son or talking to him about it on his birthday. She also says that she'll just watch more closely and make sure her husband does in the future, as well as have a chat with him on another day about respecting food habits. I love my friend, but historically, her and her husband have always said yes to their son and not given him any consequences for anything. Both of us were present at the party and did not see them sharing the cake. They were outside eating in the backyard with their fathers and some other parents supervising while we cleaned up. Both of us were present at the party and did not see them sharing the cake, so it's not an issue of anyone going behind anyone's back, just teaching children boundaries and respect. I let my son stay for the rest of the party and be with his friends, so it's not like I ruined the day. So, am I the asshole for being upset with my friend's son and the fact that she won't punish her son for pressuring my son into eating cake? You're at a birthday party! God forbid you experience some joy in your life. Am I wrong for demanding my girlfriend to change her dress for a wedding? This happened during this weekend, me being in my early 30s and my girlfriend in her late 20s. I was invited to a wedding ceremony of a colleague and I could bring someone with me. I asked my girlfriend that I've been dating for a year if she would like to join me, and she was really happy because she apparently loves weddings. Since we don't live together, I drove to pick her up so we'd have some time to spare before the ceremony. She's also wearing an off-white dress that was rather ornate. As she comes out, she looks really beautiful and has obviously put in time to fix her hair and makeup. As she got in, I told her she looked stunning, but I asked if she could change into a different colored dress for the ceremony. I'm not one for etiquette by far, but one of the few things I have heard everywhere is that you should not wear white to a wedding, unless you're the bride. She became pretty upset and wanted to know what was wrong with her dress. I said that it would be inappropriate to wear a white or off-white dress unless you're the bride, and that it's like wedding law or something, trying to be lighthearted about it. She rolled her eyes and said that it was an outdated tradition about women and virginity, and that when her friends got married, everyone wore white and that it's not a big thing anymore. I still thought she should change to another color but white or almost white because my colleague was getting married and we had no idea how she felt about it. My girlfriend became really upset and told me I was trying to control what she was wearing and that it was abusive. Which honestly made me really upset and hurt. I said something along the lines of, "Duck, well you shouldn't go to a wedding with an abuser then." And then I told her to get the F out of my car. She began to cry and wanted to apologize and give me a hug. But I just told her to get out, which she did. To clarify, we never left the driveway by her home. I did not drop her off in the middle of nowhere or anything like that. I drove off and she called and texted me a bunch. I answered, "I don't want to talk right now," and then turned my phone off and attended the ceremony. The bride was the only one that was wearing white, so I feel as if my gut feeling was in the right. When I got home, my phone had blown up by text from her and her best friend saying that I was being inconsiderate and controlling and should apologize for my behavior. I feel as if I was in the right since it was my colleague's wedding and it was better to be safe than sorry, but I'm also not sure if I was being an asshole about the situation. I don't understand people's obsession with trying to wear white to someone else's wedding. You don't even know the person either. It's your boyfriend's colleague's wedding. Like, huh?